Paris Lachey here. Welcome back to my channel. We're back with another Let's Talk About It. So I'm getting ready to go run some errands, but I'm waiting for my contractor to come. So I figured I'd sit down and do a quick Let's Talk About It. And what was put on my mind today was talking about things I learned in my 20s. So just jump into it, okay? So the first thing I feel like I learned in my 20s is to never settle. So that means relationships, jobs, living situations, anything that you feel like you're settling for, don't settle. Like if I would have redone so many things now that I'm older and wiser, I would say, and looking back on certain situations, I wouldn't settle like in so many areas of my life. And not saying that you can't come back from those things, but you just realize in your 20s, it's just like you're so young, like you're figuring out so much of who you are, and that's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay that you don't have it figured out. That leads me to the second thing that I feel like I've learned is that in my 20s, I feel like I had to have so much figured out, like life, job, relationships, like friendships, what I wanted to do, my purpose. Like I feel like in my 20s I was supposed to know exactly what I was doing, how I was doing it, and it's just like when I see and I talk to 20-year-olds now and I'm like, you're so young, like you're a baby, but you just think you're so grown in that point in time. Like no one can tell you that you're not grown. No one can't tell you that you're not supposed to have stuff figured out. Like no one can't tell you that in your 20s. And it's just like you're a baby in your 20s. So it's okay if you don't have life figured out in your 20s. You're not supposed to. You're really not. And it's okay. It's okay if you're just trying to find your purpose, trying to find out what you want to do with yourself. It's okay. Like it is really okay. Next, I would feel like is don't be afraid to try new things. So people will put their insecurities on you and make you afraid to try new things, and because they don't have drive, because they feel like they can't find their purpose. People will try to put those insecurities on you and make you feel like, why are you doing that? That's dumb. You're not gonna get paid to do that. That's not a purpose. Don't be afraid to try new things. It's your life. Live it how you want to live it, and try it. In your 20s, I promise you guys, it is the best time to try anything. If I can go back in my 20s, I feel like that's one thing that I feel like I would have done different is put effort into something, because it takes time. It takes time to build things up. It takes time to, I would have put more energy into something versus sitting with ideas and not trying them because I'm afraid of what people were gonna think, or I'm afraid that, well, this person told me that they tried and this didn't work, or taking everyone else's insecurities and putting them on myself. I would have tried way more in my 20s and lived so fearless that, yeah, just live and be free. So that goes into my next point is get rid of people that don't support you. So as you get older, so for instance, I could say with my daughter, Brie, she has friendships, right? And she's growing up, so she's learning, she's finally like experiencing like friendships and getting her first best friend. She's in the 4th grade, so she's getting her first best friend, and something she's telling me about her friends is just like, okay, like I have to let her go through because she has to understand like what makes a person a friend and what doesn't. But I'm also teaching and coaching her like, hey, that's not a friend, don't settle for that. So between elementary, middle school, high school, college, your early adulthood, your levels of friendship is going to change. And you may carry on the same friends, and you may get new friends, but you always know that friend that has a little bit of haterade, I'm gonna say, or you always know that friend that you feel like doesn't value or doesn't truly support you, or you have those group of friends that you feel like are only your friends because you're friends with another one of their friends, if that makes sense. So I feel like, I know for me personally, I've let go a lot, almost all of my friendships in my 30s. because different reasons. Not every friend I've had to let go for the same reason, but if looking back on it now, a lot of my friendships were what they were then, but it didn't matter because support, when you're not doing anything, you don't really need the support, right? Like, but when you're growing and when you're trying to elevate, you do need a certain set of surrounding friends, right? You do need a certain set of type of people around you. So I will say in my 20s, a lot of my friendships were what they were, but it didn't matter because we were all trying to figure life out. We were all trying to, different, like it wasn't, just take it for what it was, right? It didn't matter that they didn't support you because you didn't have nothing to support. It didn't matter that when you're going through certain things, like, so I just feel like what friends truly, truly, truly have your back by the time you're in your 20s. Because either it's in them or it's not. Either they're a true friend and they have true intentions, or they don't. There is no in between. So if you have someone like that, it's better just to cut them off now, instead of letting people in your circle drag you down, because you need people that are going to support you and push you. And when it comes time to actually do things, you want to make sure you always have the right people in your corner. So that's something that I feel like I learned going throughout my 20s, is that you have to have the right people around you that actually support you. That's important. I think another thing is taking my finances seriously. So you live in your 20s, you're figuring out life in your 20s, but financial literacy is so important, and the sooner you learn it, the better off you'll be. Don't just live negligent, but you have to also still live with a purpose. Like, you have to live free. But I feel like the biggest thing that I could have taken away, and I say this is the biggest thing out of everything that I've said, is financial literacy. If I would have financial literacy sooner, I feel like I'm blessed and I'm grateful and I'm thankful for the wisdom that I have gained over the years and just being able to learn finances and different ways to save and make money. But if I would have learned that sooner in my 20s, I would be ahead of the game, if that makes sense. Like, financial literacy is so important. So if you're in your 20s, I would say the sooner you learn about money and not just spending it just frivolously, but taking it and spending with intent, the better. Like, financial literacy is so important. And I had credit cards, of course, student debt, just making dumb purchases, like whether that was on purses and shoes. And I'm still a shopper, but I do shop very wise now. I'm a cheap shopper, but shopping way more than what I did now, like just spending money, just throwing it away instead of putting that somewhere, whether it was in stocks or real estate, and things like that in my early 20s. So if I would have learned the game on that sooner, then, but I'm just saying, you live and you learn. So I'm just telling you guys that's something that's important. If you can learn financial literacy, if you have someone who's willing to teach you financial literacy, if you have a mentor or someone like that, like, listen, like, take it in. If your parents are trying to teach you about finances and what to do with your money, if you get a check every 2 weeks, every month, and they're trying to tell you this is what you need to do with it, and they know what they're doing, listen to your parents, because they know. Don't wait till you get in your 30s and your 40s to try to figure it out. If you can figure it out now, especially with so much resources that you guys have now that even I didn't have, my parents didn't have, my grandparents didn't have. You have so many different resources to not be on your A game when it comes to like finances, and whether you're trying to build a brand or anything like that. You guys have way too many resources not to be doing something with yourself. So I feel like those are the staple things I could say I feel like I learned in my 20s. And just listening, honestly, just listening. Like, you have to be open to listen. You don't know it all in your 20s. I know you feel like you do. There are some people that are more wise. There are some people that have gone through way more things than even someone my age has. There are people that have different lives. I'm not, denying that. But for the most part, you don't know a lot in your 20s. You are still a baby, and I think a lot of my problem was listening. Like, listening way more and stop thinking that I know it all. I still have that problem sometimes now, but listening. You have to listen. You have to be open to learn from your elders, even from your parents. I know that we have this taboo of not listening to our parents, thinking we know it all. Even with my teenagers at school, like, y'all think y'all know it all. Even listening to me, like, I'm trying to tell y'all certain things, just like y'all don't know it all. So, listening is something that is very important growing and being in your 20s. Those are just some key pointers I feel like I did learn in my 20s. There's so much more, but those are just the things that came to my head really fast, and it was on my mind, just on my mind. Those are the things that I feel like the top factors that I learned in my 20s. So live, be free, but live with a purpose. Find the right support group. Whatever you want to focus on, put 100% into that. Do it 100%. Don't be afraid. Don't let people put their insecurities on you. It's your life. You have to live it at the end of the day. You have to do what makes you happy. So make sure you're happy doing it. And always treat people right. Always treat people with respect. And because what you give out is what you're going to get back. So always be aware of that. And that's it, y'all. That's all I have. I just wanted to quickly sit down and talk about this. And now I'm about to get up and go run some errands. So hope you guys enjoyed that little tidbit. And I will definitely see you guys in my next video.